All right, so a little bit of an introduction to put this in context. On Thursday, Karl Lentz called into Angela Stark's show and had a little back and forth with Rod Class. And I think it's a good clip because it really illustrates the failings of, both what Rod Class teaches and what Karl Lentz teaches. For context, Rod Class recently got out of jail after being jailed for some firearms charges. He lost the case. He lost the appeal to the case. And Karl calls in to give him legal advice on how to get out of the charges. So let's listen.
That's amazing. Okay, Karl, be nice. I don't mean be a fool. Rod, have you ever met Karl Lentz?
No, but I've seen some of his paperwork. I've seen some of his recordings. Like I said, he's got good information. The problem is we're not dealing with a system that is honest. It's whatever they want to do at the time. Everybody's got the right answer. We just don't have the enforcement.
Okay, Karl, meet Rod. Rod, meet Karl.
Hey, Karl.
I've spoken to Rod a few times on his show.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, it was a very simple one when he had that blue light ticket. And he was talking about how many hours it took for the process to go through the court. And he was appealing it. And I just told him a very simple answer. I said, why didn't you just go into the court and say that who is making a claim that this blue light is not OEM? I believe it is OEM. I believe this is the way I got the vehicle when I purchased it. So unless any man or woman is going to come forth and claim that this is not OEM, then it stands as OEM as true. And who would have came forth and said it was not the way it was originally manufactured from the original equipment from the manufacturer? Who could come before the court and say that that was not originally placed on that dashboard 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago? Nobody.
Yeah,
Nobody.
That is a good argument, on what you're doing, and you're right.
And then this other simple one is, who was a plaintiff in this Washington, D.C. trial?
Well, see, I brought that up to the judge, and they told me it was the statute.
Okay, who was the name on the title, on the paperwork, in the caption?
It said the United States of America, and that's what I brought up. But we brought this up.
All right, so let's recap that little exchange. Karl asked Rod, did you ask who was the plaintiff? Rod responds, yes, I tried it, and it didn't work. That really says it all. Karl is pushing an old Freeman theory tactic of asking who was a criminal, who was a plaintiff in a criminal case. Rod tried it, it didn't work. And that's been the pattern for, almost 30 years that people have been trying that. It does not work. And Karl is still repeating it. And for those who might not be aware of what this is, in a criminal case, there isn't a plaintiff. It's state versus, John Smith. The famous case it would be, the O.J. Simpson trial. There was no plaintiff in the O.J. Simpson murder trial. It was the state of California versus O.J. Simpson. There is never a plaintiff in a criminal trial. It's a stupid question. It is not going to get you off the charges.
Did you bring up habeas corpus?
Yes, we did.
And what in the habeas corpus did you bring forth to the court?
Well, we brought in is the fact that if we could go back and show a constitutional violation or a statutory violation that no injured party was part of this, they had to dismiss.
Okay, the Habeas Corpus Act simply states that any man who's taken into prison has the capacity, has the right to cross-examine his accuser that he's done something wrong. So why didn't you just bring a very simple habeas corpus, just write habeas corpus and say, the number one rule in habeas corpus is that if I've done wrong, I have the right to stand and cross-examine my accuser. Who is my accuser, or what is my accuser?
Well, see, I brought that up in numerous of documents, and Harvey and I, we went through.
I'm not saying it's numerous documents. It's one sentence. Just have to give a notice to the court or habeas corpus. Just ask them a simple question. Has habeas corpus been suspended in the United States? And they'll say no. It's like, okay, then under the Act of Habeas Corpus, do not have the right to have cross-examine my accuser. Who or what? I think it's more of a what that's accusing me of doing something wrong. Is it a who or is it a what? And do you understand what is standing before you? Do you think that I am a who or do you think I am a what? That's all you had to do.
Yeah, well, like I said, I did go before Kessler. I did ask who and who is the habeas corpus? Who is the injured party?
Not ask who's the injured party. The United States is an injured party. It's a harmed party. Only a man could be harmed. Injured parties could be my mailbox. My mailbox could be an injured party. Injury is something to a tangible object. Harm befalls man. Injury befalls the property of man. A personal injury means you hit my mailbox, you hit my car. If you bodily harm me, it means you injured my actual body itself. Harm and injury is not the same word. They're not interchangeable.
Okay, and here we continue with the pattern. Karl asks, did he do a habeas corpus? Rod responds, yes, and it didn't work. And, then Karl tries to flim-flam, oh, well, did you do this? Well, it didn't work, period. Karl keeps trying to complicate it. More importantly, Karl repeats a very fundamental misunderstanding of what habeas corpus means. When you file a habeas corpus, it would be, well, in Rod's case, if he filed a habeas corpus, it would be, asking what are his charges. You need to charge me, or you need to let me out of jail. That's what a habeas corpus means. So in Rod's case, for example, he was already being charged. The habeas corpus would not do anything. At that point, it's going to trial. He's already being charged. There's nothing for habeas corpus to do. It's a pointless filing.
Well, it still comes back into the mailbox is not capable of writing out an affidavit and walking in.
It could have a representative. I could represent my mailbox. I could represent your mailbox. I could represent the United States. I could represent the state of Alabama. I could represent anything. I could represent an apple. Am I the apple? No. But can I represent it? Yes. Can I act like an apple? Can I act for the apple? Yes, of course I can. Why? Because the apple has no capacity to stand, but I do. All you have to do is ask who or what is bringing this case forward.
Okay.
And am I not a man? Do I not have the right to cross-examine my accuser who's believe I've done wrong? And what wrong have I done? Have I done something wrong? And they'll say, no, you've done nothing wrong. I mean, that's exactly what they will tell you. You ask a judge a very simple question, have I done anything wrong? And he'll say, well, no, you violated a code, you violated a statute. Well, when I've done something wrong, you let me know. It's like, no, we're not here to discuss whether you did something wrong. And what are we here to talk about? That I did something right?
Yeah, like I said, your arguments. There's nothing wrong with your arguments. Your arguments are right on what you're coming in here with.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, you spent a lot of time studying statutes and codes, and yes, I did that as well. But one big thing I think that you should really be dedicating it to is reading, or, well, not so much reading, but writing a dictionary.
And so I'm going to put a link to the full interview in the description. But that last sentence really sums up, the entire situation. Ron Class just got out of jail, just lost his case, just lost the appeal to the case. And what is Karl's advice to Ron Class? Go write a dictionary. I mean, how is that going to help him? What is that? What is that? Rockclass tried every trick in the Sovereign Citizen, Freeman, Karl Lentz playbook, and none of it worked. What else is there to discuss? There's people every day taking legal advice from Karl Lentz, and knowing when there's this universe of evidence that's not going to work. About a month ago, there was a car facing felony firearms charges. There's also types of serious people calling to the Karl Lentz show for legal advice, and this is the crap he gives them, stuff that doesn't work and has never worked. It's dangerous. You ask, when has Karl lost a case? Well, we know he's lost his personal custody cases, but more importantly, look, the last 30 years of sovereign citizen losses is the evidence that Karl Lentz methods do not work. Let's take the most obvious example. The Montana Freeman, who Karl heavily is influenced by, they died in federal jail. That is basically the most serious example of sovereign Freeman loss. They died in jail. That's how long they spent in jail, and that is the philosophical. That is the foundation for Karl's material. The other big influence in Karl Lentz is Bill Thornton and what's the other guy? Bill Thornton, and that's where Karl gets a lot of the you need to have your own court, you have to do your own thing. Well, that doesn't work. That has never worked. It didn't work for Bill Thornton. It didn't work for the people that Bill Thornton learned it from. That is the point that people just cannot seem to absorb. This week's one of the shows that Karl Lentz did this week is 13 hours long. I think about that. 13 hours. A normal work day is 8 hours. Well, at least, in this country. Well, 13 hours of bullshit and bad legal advice. And that's nearly every day. The amount of misinformation that Lentz is putting out is criminal. It's irresponsible. And look, it needs to stop.